Hey there everyone, it's that solo main. Today we'll be playing Factorio. Factorio is a base building sandbox survival game where the ultimate end goal is to launch a rocket into space. So let's see what we can do here. First things first, let's go ahead and clear out all of this here, get as many resources from it as we can. Alright, now that we've cleared out the main area here, got the fire down, let's look at the resources that we have around us. Looks like we have the essentials up here, some stone, iron, copper, and coal. Essentials for what you need to start out the base. It even looks like we've got some uranium up here. That's very nice. Which I believe that could set our direction of where to start building. Alright, now we've made our way up to the resources here. As you can see, it's a little bit covered in some trees, so we're going to have to clear some of them out. I also see some cliffs that might be a little troublesome in our way, but we can find ways to work around them. Nothing warms my heart like a little bit of deforestation. Next on our list is to start harvesting these resources. There is a way to set up some burner drills to self-feed themselves for the coal part here. Now, given that I'm not seeing any, other than this piece down here, I'm not seeing any other coal in the area, I want to set this up efficiently so I can still use the resources later on. After a bit of mining and smelting, it's finally time to set up our coal production plant. As I said, we'd like to use this resource patch here in the future, so we'd like to see if we can use these burner drills here to clear out some of this top portion here, get a nice dividing line between the two, and set this up as efficiently as possible. And who said peak efficiency wasn't possible? Well, with our beautiful mining setup going for coal, we can now start focusing on getting technology and getting our iron, copper, and stone built up. Well, would you look at that? A perfectly designed iron plate setup. Let's head over to the copper and stone patches and start harvesting them as well. Now, doesn't that look absolutely incredible? The next step in our plan is to begin researching weapons. Some of the things that we can research to get better defenses are either military to get a rifle, shotgun, and some ammo, or do a mixture of turrets and walls so that way we're not actively having to kill everything that comes our way. The way that we're going to do it is to set up turrets and walls, that way we can primarily focus on our factory. To begin researching, we need research packs and labs. The way for labs to work though, we need electricity. Let's go ahead and set up our power plant right in this open area over here. The key components to power generation are number 1, a water source, number 2, a boiler to turn the water into steam, and number 3, steam engines to turn the steam into electricity. Some key information about building a power plant is that one water pump can support 10 boilers. Each boiler, in turn, can support 2 steam engines. So a good ratio is 1 water pump to 10 boilers to 20 steam engines. So first things first, let's go ahead and place our water pump. Right here seems like a fantastic spot. Next up, we're going to be placing 10 of these. Now as you can see, I had to clear out some trees to find the perfect placement for all of these in the best way possible. Next part of the step will be connecting them all to our water source. And there we go. Now we have 10 boilers all set up and all plumbed perfectly. Now, as you can see here on the bottom left, you can use these as a feed through, as each side has an in and an out. So you can use it to feed through and supply some of your other boilers. The next step in this process is placing the steam engines and supplying them with the steam to generate power. And after about 5 to 10 minutes and a couple iron plates, we have here a fully piped power system. Now, much like the boilers, the steam engines have both a in and an out on each side of the steam engine. So, you can use that as a feed through just as we did with the boilers. The next step would be connect each steam engine with power poles. Now, some people like to use a grid system as it does look a lot nicer for both the wires and on the map with the power overlay enabled. In this instance, we may have to freestyle a little bit. The final step of the process is to supply all your boilers with coal. In the future, you can have electric boilers which do not require coal, or the logistic system which can automatically supply coal when it is low. Given our layout, we will have to hand supply coal for now until we either get the electric boiler or the logistic system in place. Because we're hand feeding, it does not hurt to know how much coal you will need in order to supply it and to possibly have a chest to the side with that coal stashed away. We have With one pump, we have 10 boilers, and that requires 500 coal, one stack per section. Thankfully, this won't be an issue for us because our self-sufficient coal mining has enough to provide each boiler with a stack. Alright, so with our power setup complete, it is time to build some labs and get some defenses researched as our pollution is still rising and getting pretty close to some of our northern neighbors here. Now, as we had said before, the defense style we'll be going with is a mixture of turrets and walls. Thankfully, each of these technologies only requires 10 red research packs each. That is something that we can just make in our inventory right now and worry about making a production line later on. So to make the necessary research packs, we need 20 of these. Looks like it requires 2 iron plates and 1 copper plate, so about 40 iron, 20 copper. Not that hard to do with our current setup. Alright, well with materials in hand, let's go ahead and start making 20 of these. And I went ahead and made 2 labs just to speed up the research a little bit. And just for now, we're going to put them right next to our power setup. We'll move them later on. Alright, the research packs are finished. We'll go ahead and pop 10 into each of these and start researching our defenses. Now, while these are going, it wouldn't be bad to come around and make sure that all of your steam engines and everything are piped perfectly, and a good way to notice is you can actually see them working. Alright, looks like both of our technologies are finished, so we'll go ahead and refill our boilers for now and start building up some walls and turrets. Okay, as I stated before, it's not bad to have a chest to the side while we are hand feeding these, just to have a backup source of coal so you never run out and you're never in an emergency situation. As you can see here, I have a iron chest that I have stacked completely full of coal. Again, not that hard with our current mining setup. Just really does not hurt to have on hand. Now, when deciding where to place your defenses, especially early game, one of the number one factors is to see where your enemies are at. And there were 2 groups, one to the north, one to the northwest of us. So that's the main spots I want to immediately defend. Now, of course, in the future, once we get some better weaponry, we are going to go north and wipe out those 2 camps. As like I said, there's that uranium deposit you can see above us, and we're going to start building that way. One of the things to take into account when setting up your defenses is terrain. Some of the bonuses are using cliffs and water as indestructible barriers and build around them to kind of set yourself up. For instance, using this body of water below me and this cliff above me, I can bottleneck the enemies down through a wall of turrets and have a nearly indestructible defense setup right here. The main components needed for a basic starter setup on defenses are turrets and walls. Looking at the inventory here, turrets, they require quite a bit of iron just for one turret. 40 plates to 10 copper just to have one setup. So it's nice to have a big iron starting point to get you a baseline to run off of. The next component would be the walls themselves, which you need stone brick for. Now, you only need 5, so that's not terrible, but we do not currently have a stone smelting setup going. So let's work on that. So, a little bit of a mistake on my part. I forgot to unpause the recording. To catch you up on what happened off screen, I had to clear out this nest by hand, just because their spawn kept coming around and essentially wasting all of the ammo I was putting into these turrets the second that I put them down. Another thing I did while I was off screen was I went ahead and researched military so I could get the submachine gun and the shotgun recipe, both very effective at clearing out nests. I prefer the machine gun just because it's rapid fire, and when you get overwhelmed quite a bit, it does help being able to kind of spray and pray. Another bonus of the machine gun is the ammo it takes is the exact same ammo as the pistol, and of course you can research a better ammo later on, but for starting out, it is nice to have the dual function of it, whereas the shotgun, while very, very deadly, the ammo requires 2 iron plates and 2 copper plates, as opposed to simply 4 iron plates. But even though the nest is cleared out, I am still going to set up defenses here. This is a very nice bottleneck, and it is right by our power plant, so it's one of the key areas that you do want to defend. And there we go. Now this bottleneck is fully defended. Now all that's left is to place some defenses along the north side where the other base is, and if it goes the same way as this one did, we might have to go ahead and take that nest out. Alright, so as you can see before, I hadn't fully explored this area up here, but it does look like there's not actually a nest right here, but there's the possibility for one. Probably put up some defenses just in case, keep this uranium safe here. So let's get right to it. So it looks like right here is definitely the start of a new nest. What that means is that there's probably a bigger nest nearby, so we do have to get some good defenses set up here for when we want to expand and especially utilize that uranium. After exploring a little bit more north of that uranium patch, it does look like we have a bigger nest here with some more, probably a little bit stronger enemies. So we definitely need to set up defenses right along this top side here. It looks like with where we're wanting to expand to, we may not be able to fully utilize these cliffs as a defensible spot, but with enough walls, we are able to do anything. Okay, so that seems like a pretty good spread out turret setup there, with nothing being able to get through. All that's left is to load them up with some ammo and surround them with some walls. Alrighty everyone, there we have it. We've got our walls fully built, turrets full of ammo, and so I think that's a good stopping point with this video. Okay, so just a quick recap of what we've done in this video is we built a stone, coal, iron, and copper setup. We've begun producing electricity to power our research labs. We've got a couple technologies under our belt, and we've got some stationary defenses built along our north and western walls. Well, this has been that solo main. Thank you all very much for watching. If you liked the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see some videos like this in the future.